Hey everyone, happy Thanksgiving. It is Trish from Techniques by Trish. I am here with my third and final thankful card for you guys. Today I am featuring the Concord and Ninth Give Thanks stamp set, and I am using this kind of leaf image, and I am sticking to the same color scheme that I have used on the last two thankful cards. So I'm using Lawn Fawn inks. I'm using cranberry, sunflower, dough, pumpkin spice. I'm bringing in some narwhal and some walnuts. So you'll see that here in a few moments. So I'm starting out by stamping this image in cranberry ink. I'm doing second generation stamping, so I'm stamping off on a piece of scrap paper and then stamping onto my cardstock. And then I wanted to do a little bit of shading around the edges, so I am just rocking and rolling my stamp in the ink pad. Now I did this for the first color, but I felt like the lines were a little bit too harsh, so I'm showing you guys here when I did the sunflower ink. I'm actually taking just a microfiber cloth and I'm dabbing down the center. Excuse my crazy hair, it appears very many times in this video, but I just wanted to get the perfect alignment. But you see I'm using the microfiber cloth, dabbing down the center so that I'm not getting those harsh lines as I did in the cranberry ink, but it's okay. And I'm going to repeat this for all the colors. So like I said, I used cranberry first, then sunflower. I then used the dough ink, pumpkin spice. Here you see I'm bringing in the narwhal, and to finish off the card front, my pattern paper background, I'll be using the cranberry again. Once I've gone ahead and I've done that, I'm going to go back in and stamp the branch part of these leaves with the walnut ink from Lawn Fawn. And I'm not being extra careful about it. I'm pretty much just stamping it. Some are aligned perfectly, others are not. And I am totally okay with that for this card. Once I've done that, I'm taking the Lawn Fawn Stitch Rectangles dies. These are my go-to dies to cut out rectangles, and I'm cutting out that front panel with it to just give a little bit extra detail. I'm then taking a piece of white cardstock and I am applying some Stick-It adhesive to it. I like to do this when I am using some very intricate dies, and sometimes if I'm using multiple like I will be doing in this card, it just makes sticking it all together a little bit easier. I'm going to save that scrap piece of paper. There's nothing wrong with it, and that little strip tends to get used all the time, so do save it. This stuff is a little bit pricey, so I save every little scrap. Once I've applied that onto my white cardstock, I'm just going to take my bone folder and really burnish it to make sure I get a really good stick onto my cardstock. And then once I've done that, I'm taking my favorite things, Words of Gratitude die. The one I'm using today is Thankful. I believe there is Thanks and Thank You as well in that set. And I'm cutting it out of the paper that has the Stick-It adhesive on it. Once I've gone ahead and done that, I'm actually going to take the die and use some Post-it adhesive and place it exactly where I would like it on my pattern paper that we created, and I'm going to die cut the word out of this as well. Now once I die cut this, I'm going to save all of the pieces, that's all of the negative pieces as well as the word itself, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the plain white die cuts onto each other to give a little bit of dimension, and then I'm going to apply this piece that has been die cut from the front of my card on top of it. So you'll see here that I've taken it out and I've taken all the pieces out of it, and now I'm just taking another piece of white cardstock that I've die cut from the same rectangles die. You don't have to do that, but I wanted to make sure it was a perfect match, so I did do that. And then I'm taking some Stick-It adhesive and applying it right to the center of this. Again, I'm going to burnish it with my bone folder, and then it seems that I should have just cut the whole piece for the front, but for whatever reason this must have been of scrap, and so I have some pieces on the edges of this that need some adhesive. So I'm just going to take my snail adhesive and apply that around the edges, and then I'll go ahead and stick the pattern paper that we created onto this. And again, I'll use my bone folder to burnish around the die cut word to make sure that all of the edges are adhered really well onto the plain white cardstock on the back. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and take the die cut words, and again my hair gets in the way, my head gets in the way, but I wanted to show you guys this, that I'm taking my time and really putting that die cut word inlaid into that panel really carefully, taking my time. And then once I've done that, I'm leaving the stick it adhesive paper on the top of it, and I'm putting all the extra pieces that were die cut from the original panel. So the intricate pieces in the F and the U and the L, I'm matching it up and putting it in there and then burnishing it with my bone folder to make sure it's a good stick. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and peel off the adhesive on top of the Thankful again, and I'm going to lay my next layer in there. So I have 3 die cut Thankful layers that are going in there, and then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and adhere the Thankful that was originally die cut from this panel right on top of it. So it still matches up, and see here, you can't really see it very well, but when I tilt it a little bit in the light, you do see that Thankful raised up from the panel just slightly, and I really love this effect. It's subtle, but it still stands out, and it's just different. Once I've done that, I decided that Thankful wasn't enough, and I wanted to add a little sentiment on top of it, so I couldn't find any cardstock that coordinated perfectly with my panel, so I'm taking the dough ink and a mini ink blending tool, and I'm just blending some ink onto some plain white cardstock, and it matched perfectly. So in case you can't find cardstock that matches exactly, you could always do this with any inks that you have. And then I've prepped my cardstock with my EK Success powder tool, stamped the So Very Sentiment with Versamark ink from the Neat and Tangled Oak Leaf stamp set, and then I've heat set that with some Ranger Superfine Detail White Embossing Powder, and then I wanted to use the dough around the edges because I didn't like that stark white. I then am ready to put my card together, and I went a little overboard on the foam adhesive on my panel. Not sure why, but I felt the need to attach a lot of adhesive to make it safely through the mail. So once I've done that, I'm applying it onto some Neenah Desert Storm. This is the 100-pound cardstock. It's a really sturdy craft cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my panel onto that. And then I've put some foam adhesive onto the back of the So Very flag that I cut out for the stamp sentiment, just to raise it up a little bit above the Thankful. And I'll just peel that off, and then I'm just finding the perfect placement for it. And then once that's done, I'm just adding a few sequins with my Ranger Multimedia Matte Adhesive. I like to put it on a piece of scrap paper first and then just use my stylus to apply a little bit of adhesive behind it. That way I don't have excessive adhesive oozing around the sequins. And that completes my card for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed these 3 Thankful cards featured for this week. I enjoyed making them all. There will be a link down below in the description box to my blog, which will have links to all the supplies used on this card. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back very soon with the holiday series for 2017.